Welcome to a video from thedigital-lifestyle.com. In this video we're going to have a look at this AC1900 TP-Link router. It's a dual band one with Gigabit, and you want a good Wi-Fi signal in your house, so you need a good router. So this is just that. So you keep your existing supply device from your ISP, and then you can plug your output of your router that you come with your ISP into this, and then you've got your whole home networking with the dual gigabit as well, the dual band Wi-Fi and the gigabit as well. So what we're doing in this video is we're going to power it up, and we'll have a look at some of the options with it, and I'll have a look at the signal strength. So before I do that, I'll just give you a quick look at the device itself. So we've got USB 2 port for sharing out data, so you can plug an external hard drive in there, and we've got 4 Gigabit Ethernet ports on there. So that's the thing with the speed there. You can have locally connected PCs all running Gigabit Ethernet. We've got 1 port which you connect from your router, and then we can power it up wirelessly. So I'll go and plug this in, connect to my network, and we'll have a look at some of the options. Right, so I've got everything connected up now, and here you can see the router broadcasting signal, and I've connected up with the password that was supplied. First thing you'll notice here, despite all these devices, these are all my different test routers, are all next to each other, this has got the strongest signal. So this one here is the Sky one that from ISP. These are some other ones I use for testing, and you'll notice that that's actually the strongest signal is the TP-Link. So you straight away you're getting an advantage of a good signal quality on the wireless. So what else have we got? So I've gone onto the management interface here just to have a look at some of the things we can do with it, and so we've got a network map. Let's have a look at some of the options on here. So we can change some of the options. The way that this is working, this is giving us a 192.168.1 address, and it needs to get a 192.168.0 address from my Sky box, because that's the provider. So it's working that as a way of connecting through. So, but you can change that. I can have static, or I can have the dynamic connection. So I've got the dynamic connection set up, and that's giving us IP addresses. On the wireless settings, we can these are the default setups, but we can change some of that. So we've got operating the 2.4 GHz range and the 5 GHz range. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to plug a USB device in so we can see how that works. Right, so I've now got the USB connected. So what can we do on here? Let's just quickly have a look at USB settings. I've got a drive in there with lots of data on it, and there's 2 ways I can access it: through network neighborhood like that, or I can FTP onto it, and you can set up logins if you want to as well. So let's just check out the file transfer speeds. Okay, so there's the hard drive, and if I go into a folder here, you can see that's a folder on a USB hard drive connected directly into the back of the router, and I can try copying a file over. There you go, you can see I'm copying it over. Get about 5 megasecond there, and that's quite a reasonable rate for Wi-Fi. And like I said earlier in the video, we've got a good strong signal from where we are here compared to some of the other devices on the network. For example, these next to it, and that's the strong one. So we can use it like that for file sharing. It also supports DLNA as well. Here you can see the settings through the browser. We've got DLNA on there. I'll fire up Windows Media Player and we'll check that. So there I'm playing a video. Again, that's using Windows Media Player as DLNA, and the router is acting as a DLNA server. So you can put your music on there, and you'll be access it through any device that can do DLNA. And then I guess you could push from here. So you could use a DLNA controller to push it to your audio player, your TV, media receiver, or whatever you want. So it's got that DLNA built into it. Other things it's got, you can have a guest network. So you can set up a guest network, so someone comes round to your house or your business, and you want them to give access to Wi-Fi rather than giving to your Wi-Fi password. You can create a guest password, and then you can make it so that whether the guests can see each other or whether they can access the local network. So with that off, you can have all your guests connecting and they can't see each other's devices, which is probably what you want in guest mode. Maybe you've got it as a business for visitors, but you can choose to turn that on or off, and whether they can access your local network. So I normally for guests you'd have those off, and then you can set passwords up there and not have to give them your main password. It supports 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz range, each with its own SSID, so you can separate those out. So you've got quite a lot of settings. You can control the DHCP. You can set up pass-through NAT or just isolated NAT, so you can have your own private network for broadcasting of services like DLNA and things like that. You can separate them or have them there. You can do the things that you would do like port forwarding on virtual servers. So if you've got a media center set at home, something like Plex or MB, and you want to be able to access that from outside your network, you can publish one of those. Let's say Plex is a media center system. You can publish that using these virtual servers and basically tell the router how to, from the outside, how to get to, say, the media functions of your Plex server, so you can watch all your media or music or whatever through Plex when you're out and about, and that does all that as well. So you've got a lot of functionality. I mean, Plex actually does support UPnP, which is enabled by default on here, which will try and create these rules for you. But you've got a lot of access and control over that. You can have parental controls on there, so you basically give it the MAC address of your parental PC, and then that means it's not locked out, and then you can add filters for parents. So if it's not a parent machine, then it won't go on the network, or it won't go to the internet, I should say. But you can have rules. You can enable, I think there's even a wizard there to set up, so you can have rules on your network, what's allowed and what's not allowed. So you can even set up time-based rules, so that certain times of the day these sites aren't allowed, these sites are allowed, and then you can configure all that there. So you've got a lot of flexibility around the control of security. So it is good for home for that. And you've got family, you want to protect them, and then you've got things like bandwidth control. Some of the things it supports, things like dynamic DNS, so that again, this is handy if you're you want to get onto your home network from outside. Dynamic DNS, so you always get so it updates the system so that you know what your DNS is, so they know the IP address of your system if you're getting a dynamically addressed a dynamic IP address from your ISP. So it supports all that as well. Let's see what else is there. System tools. Okay, so you've got set. You can reboot them, and you do firmware upgrades, and there's diagnostics and all that kind of stuff. So really, I would say this the quick setup is really easy just to get going, get set up for the first time, and then you've got a lot of advanced functionality in it. So it's pretty good from that point of view. So to finish off, I'd say it's a nice router. I quite like the design. You've got 4 Gigabit Ethernet ports, obviously only Gigabit if you connect to each other. You've got USB support, you've got DLNA, FTP, guest network, you've got the security settings, family settings, family safety settings, that kind of thing. And I think it looks really, really nice as well. I quite like the design. Best thing about it really is the signal strength. As you saw, it's got better signal strength than all my other routers, so that's pretty good. This is about £100 on Amazon, and very nice router if you're looking for something for your home network or around the home. For more videos, go to thedigitallifestyle.com or on our YouTube channel.